Okay, guys, next division lesson, lesson 17, we're going to look at more of that parent's way, the standard algorithm for solving these problems. You're going to see a little change, though, today. Very similar to lesson 16 that you just finished, but some changes. So we're going to start again with just a 1 digit divided by a 1 digit. And we're going to use the dots as our first way. And since the divisor is 4, we're going to split this into 4 parts. And then we have 6 dots to split up. So we're going to split 1, 2, 3, 4. And we actually have 2 remainders this time. So when you look at your quotient, your answer, you look at how many are in each box, and you've got 1, and you've got a remainder of 2. These 2 dots could not get split evenly into these 4 groups. So very simple with the dots. Now we're going to work on the standard algorithm, or parent's way, DMSB. And we're going to start with that division step. And we're going to divide. Can 4 go into 6? And it can 1 time. You're going to turn right around and multiply. That 1 times 4 is 4. And just to show you, this 4 represents these 4 dots right here. You used up 4 dots when you split these 6 into 4 groups. Next step is subtraction. You're going to take your 6 total dots, subtract the 4 you used, and that gives you your 2 remainders. So your quotient is 1 remainder 2, which matches right here. Then again, we want to check our work. Always make sure you've got the right quotient. Super simple. You're going to take your divisor times your quotient and add your remainder. Oopsies, I made a mistake. That should be remainder 2. Terribly sorry. All right, so we're going to do 4 times 1, which is 4. And then we're going to add in our 2 remainder, which is 6. And that should match up the dividend, the inside of the box, if you will, and it does. So we're good. This one's where it changes just a little bit. You're going to take a number like 62 and divide it into 4 groups in 10s and 1s. And you're going to see a change in this one here. So I'm going to start with the 10s because we always start with the biggest place value. I'm going to divide it equally, but now I get 2 remainders. Here's what's tricky. These 2 remainders are in the 10s, and they can be broken into the 1s. So 2 10s is really 20 in the 1s. So now I had 2 in the 1s, but now I have 20 more in the 1s. So now I really have, I'm going to add those 2. I really have 22 in the 1s place now. And you'll see where that shows up in the parent's algorithm here in just a second. But instead of just dividing 2 into these 4 groups, I had the 2 extra 10s, so I'm going to take 22 dots and split them evenly into each of the 4 groups. So there's 4, there's 8, 12, 16, 20, and then 2 remainders. So I took my 22 dots, I split them evenly, and came out with 2 remainders. My quotient is I have 1 dot in the 10s, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots in the 1s, and I have 2 remainders. Now I'm not counting these 2. These 2 are actually broken down and split into the 1s place. So the only 2 remainders I'm looking at is right here. So my quotient is 15 with the remainder of 2. I'm going to show you what that looks like with your standard algorithm. I'm going to write down our letters, DMSB. And have to zoom in a little bit here. All right, so my first step is division. I'm going to take my 4 and go into 6. So I'm only working on the 10s place. 4 goes into 6 1 time. I'm going to multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. I'm going to subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Now, just to show you how that is very similar to what we did over here, we took these 6 dots. We split them into 4 groups. We got 1 in each group. And we used a total of 4 dots, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these 2 are the remainders. Watch how these two remainders, we broke them down into ones. Watch how they come back in. We have finally gotten to our bring down section of it. So notice that we had 2 in the ones place. Now we have 22. Because of these two remainders in the tens, these two right here, they became 21s, plus the 2 more ones that were brought down in there. Now we've got 22. These 22 dots split into 4 groups. Goes in there 5 times. That's my division step. I'm going to multiply 5 times 4, which is 20. I'm going to subtract to see if there's any remainders. And there are 2 remainders. There's nothing left to bring down, which tells me that I'm done with that equation. I'm done with all that work. And my quotient is 15 remainder 2. Same as what I've got here, 15 remainder 2. And again, always checking our work. So I take that quotient 15, I multiply it by the divisor, which is 4. We've done this simple 2 by 1 digit multiplication. And 1 times 4 is 4, plus 2 more is 60. And then I add my 2 remainders, and I get my dividend, my multiplication answer. Right here is 62, so I know I've got it. Couple more quick examples. Same idea, I'm doing 8 divided by 3. So I take this and cut it into 3 sections. I divide my 8 dots. I end up with 2 remainders. So my quotient is 2 in each, 1, 2, and 2 remainders. Here's my 1, 2 remainders. Same idea with parents' way, DMSB. I'm going to divide. Can 3 go into 8? It can, 2 times. Then I'm going to multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to subtract to see if there's any remainders, and there are 2 remainders left over. So I've got a quotient of 2, remainder 2. Checking our work, we take our quotient times our divisor, and then add in our remainder, and we should get our dividend right here. So we're looking good. Now here's the next one, a little bit tougher. Splitting that into 3 groups. Starting in the tens place, we're going to divide those 8 tens. There's our 8 tens. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 2 remainders here. We're going to take those 2 remainders and break those down, right? And 2 tens is equal to 21s. And I already had 4 ones in there, so I'm going to put those together. I should have 24 ones to split up into these 3 categories. So I'm going to go ahead and split that up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. It goes in there exactly 24 times, which leaves me 2 in the tens place, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the ones place with no remainder. It goes in exactly 28 times with 0 remainders. Let's look at it with the parents algorithm. I'm going to zoom in a bit. I'm going to write down my DMSB, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. And I'm going to get started here. I'm going to see if 3 can go into 8, and it can go in there 2 times. That's my division. I'm going to multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. Subtract to look for remainders. And just to point out how these numbers are very similar here, I had 8 dots. I split them into 3 groups. 8 dots split into 3 groups. Each group got 2, 1, 2. Used a total of 6 dots, 2, 4, 6 total used, 2 remainders, 2 remainders. It's the same thing, just written very, very differently. Once I subtract, I'm going to bring down that 4. See how these 2 remainders here that we added made 21s, with the 4 that we were bringing down, 4 made 24. Here's your 24. Now we're taking this 24 and splitting this into 3 groups. So I've got 3 goes into 24. It goes in there 8 whole times. That's my division step. 8 times 3 is 24. That's my multiplication. I'm going to subtract, and there's no remainders. There's nothing left to bring down, which tells me I'm done. My quotient is 28. So same answer here that I had here. I'm just going to double check my work. I'm going to take my quotient, 28. I'm going to multiply it by my divisor and see if it gives me that dividend. So starting the ones, 8 times 3 is 24. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 more is 8. There's no remainder to add, so I'm good. And this 84 matches this 84.